Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our 7th installment of Breakfast with REALTOR Champions. My name is Casey Angel, and I serve as Vice President of Policy Engagement at the Raleigh Regional Association of Realtors. This morning, I'm joined by State Political Coordinator and RRAR President-elect Brett Bushnell, as well as our Government Affairs Director, Jordan Forrest. We are so very excited to welcome another fantastic REALTOR champion, Senator Jay Chaudhuri. Senator, before I hand things over to Brett, I wanted to thank you for your leadership and partnership throughout the years. We are grateful to not only have leaders like you in office, but also the opportunity to continue to support your campaigns each time you run. From the Raleigh Regional Association of Realtors, our entire industry, and our community, thank you so much. Brett, kick us off with our first question today.
Thank you, Casey. I appreciate that. We're grateful to have you as a partner, Senator Chaudhuri. We're also thankful to have some time to hear more about you and your plans for office. Before we get started, Casey will be monitoring the Q&A. If there's any questions, feel free to text it on into the chat. Casey will get back to us at the end, but let's get this stuff kicked off. Senator, you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. For our viewers today, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you came to serve in North Carolina's General Assembly?
Yeah, well, first, Brett, Jordan, Casey, appreciate y'all having me here, and thank you for your support and what y'all do, especially here in the Triangle. I mean, obviously, a lot of folks come to our region for high quality of life, and owning or leasing a home, I think, is a key part of that. So thank you for what you do. I got into public service really as an opportunity to give back. My parents immigrated to this country more than 50 years ago, and they came to North Carolina in 1972. And as I tell folks, that was also the same year that Jim Hunt was elected lieutenant governor. And I really deeply believe that the love that my parents have for the state of North Carolina came from having great leaders like Jim Hunt, who instilled in my immigrant parents that it doesn't matter whether you're black, white, or brown, whether you're a first generation North Carolinian or 11th generation North Carolinian, whether you work in government, business, or university, but that we work best when we work together. And it really was, I think, the inspiration and this notion of being welcomed, feeling welcomed in the state of North Carolina that drove me to pretty much spend my entire career working for the state of North Carolina. So I like to tell folks that I've had the privilege of working at the highest levels of all three branches of government. After I clerked on the Court of Appeals, I served as a legislative counsel for a state senator by the name of Roy Cooper, then followed Senator Cooper to become a special counsel to him as Attorney General for 8 years, and then decided to leave the Attorney General's office to serve as a general counsel for the State Treasurer's office to help provide legal compliance and run our corporate governance program for a $90 billion pension fund. And then in 2015, after really almost 15 years in state government, I decided to run for public office, run for state senate in a district that then I have been gerrymandered twice. So I feel like I probably have represented 70% of Wake County at this rate. But I ran for state senate because it was a natural extension of the work that I had already done in serving both the treasurer and the attorney general. And so I tell folks that I have the best senate district really in the state, and being able to represent the people that we have, and honored to do so, and hope that the voters will reelect me this coming November.
Oh, that's fantastic, and we hope the same for you, of course. What are some of your top priorities heading into 2021?
Well, I think the top priority for any legislator really has to be to address the virus, right? I mean, we really can't restart the economy unless we stop the virus. And I think, if anything, certainly in this political environment, we see the importance of state leadership. We see the importance of the role that the legislature has to play. And so that would be the top priority. I mean, I think a natural extension of that priority is to make sure that we expand Medicaid, because we know, and I'm sure that you all are seeing this as well. I mean, we know that we've already have 500,000 North Carolinians that don't have health care coverage, but that's actually extended to probably another 200,000 North Carolinians who have lost their healthcare coverage because they had employer-sponsored healthcare coverage. And so to me, that would be the number one priority. I think the second priority for me would be to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support our frontline workers and our small businesses. As someone who represents part of downtown Raleigh in North Raleigh, I have talked to small business owners. I've talked to restaurant owners. I've talked to those in the hospitality industry to know that they have really taken it on the chin with this pandemic. And while the federal relief package has provided some relief, it's not providing enough relief given the fact that we see this impasse that's taking place with Congress right now. I have championed a $50 million small business grant program. This was not a loan program, because one of the things that we heard from small business owners is they need money. They don't need additional loans, and they don't need to rack up additional debt. Unfortunately, we were not able to get that program through the General Assembly. And so, there are other ideas that, we've proposed, or I've proposed in supporting small businesses, but I'd say that's my second priority. And then my last priority is to make sure that we continue to invest and have a strong public education program. I think for anyone who is a parent like myself with a child, two children, one in elementary school and one in middle school, I think we have a deeper respect for the roles that and responsibilities that our teachers play in educating our children. I think we need to do more to support and invest in public education. I also think that from the Realtors perspective, I think one of the great attractions for Wake County is the fact that we have great public schools, and we want to continue to do that because I believe that directly ties into economic development in our region.
No, I mean, that very true. And it's become somewhat more of a focus where it had not been before on the Realtors with education and funding. The idea keeps coming up more and more because it is a basis of the community. And one of the things that attracts people to Wake County for sure. Great to hear that you've been proposing some things regarding small business relief. It is really needed. Maybe we'll see a little more after the election at the state or federal level. One can only hope, but that's great that that's on the lookout for next year as well. What is one of your favorite things about serving the community? Sounds like you've got a lot of them, but what's your favorite?
I really, it's probably the most rewarding. It's probably not, I don't know if it's a favorite, but I really think the constituent work that we do, and Abe Eichner, who is from my office, really deserves a lot of credit. But I think we are there ultimately to serve the people and to serve the people in our district. We have experienced firsthand kind of the stories and I think the challenges that so many citizens in the state have faced by being unemployed. And so one of the things I think that we were able to do in our office, and again, Abe deserves a lot of credit, is really to help more than 350 citizens help process their unemployment benefits. And that provides a lifeline for them to continue to stay afloat and put food on the table. But what I would tell you, Brett, is that we also have the stingiest unemployment benefit program in the country. And I think that we need to do more. I was just on a call with the governor before this call and was informed that close to 80 or 90,000 North Carolinians are going to lose their unemployment benefits starting next year because of the federal program. And so we need to do everything we can to extend our unemployment benefit duration as well as to increase the benefits that are provided to those citizens.
Yeah. Do you think that's going to have any traction going forward with the unemployment benefits in the General Assembly, and just like obviously a revision of kind of the system? I know the system was very antiquated too, right? Which is probably why Abe had helped so many people, because you couldn't figure it out because it was 40-year-old software.
Yeah, no, that's right. So I think and this is a problem that a number of states are facing, is that we haven't upgraded the technology system. And I think that's a general problem in state government. I mean, we need to upgrade our technology as a general proposition. So yes, that's number one. And then number two, I would hope that we would re-examine and revisit both the duration, the benefits that we pay for unemployment, that it would be a bipartisan issue, given what we're seeing citizens experience in their districts.
Yeah, there's a lot of need, especially for the small business hospitality service. I mean, those folks hopefully we can get a handle on this virus going into 2021 in the second quarter, maybe, or first quarter would be great. But yeah, it's going to be a continued need. Well, before I hand over any questions to viewers, do you have any final thoughts, items you'd like to share, ways people can get involved with your campaign or learn more about your candidacy?
Yeah, they can visit my website at jfornc.com. I think one of the nice things of representing Wake County and now Raleigh is it being accessible to constituents. I mean, I've not really done a lot of in-person meetings given COVID and trying to exercise social distancing, but it is a nice upside of representing the capital city. Is to be accessible and to have one-on-one meetings. So I've had one-on-one meetings with realtors about issues that are both related to the sector and that's not related to the sector. I think that some of the best ideas, frankly, come from folks in the district and would encourage folks to reach out to me. The second thing that I would say, which is not necessarily a priority, and I think just kind of builds off your first question about one of the favorite things for me to do, has been the opportunity to also engage in economic development recruitment. So I had the opportunity to recruit, be involved in the largest job announcement in the past decade, which was bringing Emphasis, which is a global technology company, to the Briar Creek area, which used to be part of my district, but that was 2,000 jobs that are going to be created over the next 5 years. And there's something exciting to be able to play a role in bringing company here to the county that's going to pay above the median average wage here in Wake County, and also to upskill folks in an area that is a real strength in our area, and that's in information technology. And so that's another thing I think that's been rewarding for me.
No, that's great. Casey, do you have any questions queued up in the Q&A?
It doesn't look like we have any questions, but I just wanted to thank the Senator once again for jumping on here today. And, before we got started here, we said how appropriate it was that we had this interview today for the first day of early voting in North Carolina. And one thing that we always want to touch on every time that we wrap one of these up is how long the ballot is this year. Everybody knows about the presidential and the gubernatorial races. Make sure you turn over your ballot, vote for people like our senator that's joining us today, the State House of Representatives, Wake County Commission, everything else in between. There's such amazing efforts of people locally and across the state of North Carolina that are doing so much within our communities. And I'm so thankful that you're able to shed some light on that today, Senator. Thank you again for joining us. And I don't see any questions that came in. So any closing thoughts before we wrap up today? And just thank you again for your great partnership and great working relationship that we get to see you not only when we go down to Jones Street for legislative days, but also throughout the year. I mean, in this Zoom world that we live in, we get to do it via Zoom and via phone calls and text messages. So our partnership has been very well received, and thank you so much for that.
Yeah, no, thanks, Casey, for those comments. And thanks as a reminder of how long that ballot is. I mean, it is a long ballot. I think it's one of the longest ballots in the country, given, we've got presidential, gubernatorial, U.S. Senate race, all 13 Council of State members, every member of the General Assembly. So it's a very long ballot. I would just simply, say this, that I know that I know that these are difficult times, and I think it's difficult times because there are folks that are hurting economically. We've got a public health crisis. We've got a racial crisis, and we've got a climate change crisis too. But what I would say is that I think through a crisis, oftentimes I think we can find the better angels of the people in our communities, in our neighborhoods, in our counties, in our state. And I think that's one of the things that's been amazing, is to see how many people have stepped up to be able to help other people and to work together. And I think that there is still that decency of trying to help others, that frankly is it's not a political label. I think that it's there. I think sometimes we have a difference about how we get there, but I think I remain optimistic that I think that we're going to get through this pandemic. And I also remain optimistic that I think we're going to come out of this stronger than we were when we entered into it. And I frankly think that our region in Raleigh and Wake County is incredibly well positioned to come out of this better than when we started, just because we know from what we read about and perhaps from what you all have been hearing, that I think there's a great desire for people to relocate to communities like ours. But we also have to remember that the growth in this county also presents challenges for us as well, and that we need to make sure that we meet those challenges by making sure we provide a strong safety net, but that also that we invest in education and we cover and then we make sure that we got healthcare coverage for those who need it. But I remain optimistic as we go into next year.
Yes, and just to remind everyone to vote, that it started today, and also to go to that way down ballot issue, which is the Raleigh housing bond. And the association supported that. We would urge you to do it as well. But thank you very much, Senator, for your time today. Really appreciate it. Abe, thank you very much for your coordination, getting this set up. And Casey, thank you very much for running the Q&A. Is there anything else you'd like to say as a final word?
I think it's been great. I really, again, appreciate the opportunity to be with you all, and look forward to working with you all next session. And thanks for the time again.